everyone, welcome to Sai Meda Koti Hyderabad. In this session, I would like to discuss about gunshot bits in transformers for TS Genco AE exam. Let's start from the question number 1. The question 1 is two transformers A and B having identical ratings are to be designed with the flux density of 1.2 Tesla and 1.4 Tesla respectively. The weight of the transformer A for kVA would be less than that of the transformer B, option 2 more than that of the transformer B, and option 3 the equal to the transformer B, and option 4 may be less or more than that of the transformer B depending upon the other parameters. The given that the flux density of B maximum of transformer A is equal to, so this is a given in the question, the given that the flux density of the transformer A the equal to 1.2 Tesla and flux density of the transformer B the is equal to the 1.4 Tesla. So and we need to find out the weight of the transformer per kVA ratings, comparison point of view. So which transformer has more weight or less weight or equal or maybe less or more than that of the transformer B. So this question can be solved by using the concept of EMF equation of the transformer. So we know that the EMF equation of the transformer in the primary winding, so that is E1 is equal to the 4.44 pi maximum the F number of the turns, product of the flux frequency and the number of the turns. So this flux can be written as the E1 equal to 4.44, the B maximum AN, the F, this N1, the number of the turns in a transformer. So in this case it can written as the E1 by N1 is equal to the 4.44, the B maximum, the AN, the F. So in transformer the EMF per turns ratio is constant from the primary winding to the secondary winding. So this EMF per turns ratio is constant and this frequency also constant. The remaining terms, B maximum, the B maximum AN the is equal to the constant. So some constant value. So by using this equation it can be written as the AN the is inversely proportional to the maximum flux density of the transformer core. The AN is inversely proportional to the maximum flux density. AN is the net cross sectional area. This one is the net, the cross sectional area of the transformer core. So area of the transformer, the core. So weight of the transformer is directly proportional to volume of the transformer core. So this one is the weight of the transformer. The weight of the transformer is directly proportional to proportional to the volume of transformer core, and this volume is directly proportional to area of the transformer core. So this area is inversely proportional to flux density of the transformer core. The transformer which has low value of the flux density will have the more weight, and transformer so which has the less value of the flux density or high value of the flux density will have the less value of the weight of the transformer core. So now in this case this area, so flux density of the transformer A is a 1.2, flux density of the transformer B is a 1.4. So this one is more weight. So more weight as compared to, so this the transformer, this is the less weight. So why? Because so weight is inversely proportional. Weight of the transformer is inversely proportional to the flux density of the transformer core. The transformer which has low value of the flux density will be more weight, and transformer which has high value of the flux density will have the less weight. So now answer for this question, the weight of the transformer A per kVA would be more than that of the transformer B. So option the 2 is correct for this question. And next one, let us solve question number 2. For a given cross sectional area of the transformer core, the cores are used to reduce the core losses, to provide more mechanical strength to the core, to reduce the conductor material, therefore I square R losses, and to reduce the magnetizing current. So types of, we know this question can be solved by using the concept of the types of the transformer cores. So we know that the types of the transformer core are two types. One is the square type transformer, the transformer core, and second one is the stepped type transformer core, the transformer core. And another name of this stepped type transformer core, it is also called the cruciform, the transformer core, the stepped type transformer core or cruciform transformer core. So in square type transformer, so this core is the design. So this one is the core is the limb and yoke of the transformers are designed as like square structure. So this one is the square type, the transformer core. So in this case, from the top view, by seeing the top view, so it seems to be like limb and yoke of the transformers are designed as like a square. And next one, stepped type transformer. So these are designed as like stepped manner. Okay, this one is the stepped manner. So assume this one is D1 the diameters, and this is a D2 diameters. Now after the insulation, suppose in order to place the winding, so we need to place the insulation around this periphery of this core. So this is the insulation material, insulation, and here also we can place the insulations. The place here, this is known as the insulation we have. So this is the insulation between the winding and the core. So if I place one conductor, this is the starting end of the conductors. Now this is the first turn, and next one it is the second turn, like so on. So this is the starting end and finishing end. Now similarly here also, this is the first turn and this one is the second turn, like winding is a place. So this core is the stepped type transformer core. So now here length of the copper wire, in the square type transformer is more, as length of the copper wire per 1 ton in the square type transformer is more as compared to the stepped type transformer core. So that means the stepped type transformer requires, the less amount of the copper material, less amount of the copper material as compared to the square type transformer core. So in next one, it requires the less amount of the insulation also, the less amount of the insulating material. But here and one more thing, so this one is when copper material is less, then what will happen? The I square R losses are low. This I square R loss are low in case of the stepped type transformer core. So that means I square R losses means wastage of power in the form of heat due to temperature rise in winding part of the transformer is known as I square R losses or copper losses of the machine. So when the winding is less, amount of the winding requirement is less, definitely I square R losses are low in case of the stepped type transformer core. Now see the third option, to reduce the conductor material and therefore I square R losses. So option 3 is the correct for this question. And next one, let us solve the question number 3. a 400 upon 200 volts 50 hertz transformer operates at a flux density of 1.2 Tesla, then energy raised from its HV side. From this, for this transformer, linear dimensions of the core are double while number of the turns are half on both HV and LV side. So this transformer is now connected to the 800 volts 50 hertz on its HV side, then the flux density would be, so now this is the option 1 0.6 Tesla and 0.1 Tesla, 3.6 Tesla and the 4.8 Tesla. Given rating of the transformer, okay, given that, so initially 400 the upon the 200 volts transformer, and this is the 50 hertz transformers, 200 volts and 400. So here excitation is given to the high voltage side. So this one is the excitation is given high voltage side initially. So this is in the case 1. So we have the 400 upon 200 volts transformer. So having the flux density of, okay, 1 point, B maximum is equal to the 1.2 Tesla, and this is the length of the core, okay, length of the core materials, okay, this assume the length of the core, okay, is equal to the L1, and similarly let us assume the breadth of the cores, okay, this is equal to, so breadth of the core is a B1. So now area is equal to, you can get the area of the core, the length multiplied by the breadth. So mention that linear dimensions are double, then what will happen? So now also mention, okay, and this is the, if in the case 2, so it is operated, okay, in the case 2, so this one is operated at a voltage of, so 800 volts, okay, this 800 and the 50 hertz frequency, the 50 hertz. So then the B maximum value, the maximum flux density of the transformer cores, okay, the initially flux density is given, energy rise from HV side, and per transformer linear dimensions of the core are double, the number of the turns are half, okay, on both sides, so that the number of the turns, so this is the turns on HV side, the here this is the HV side, suppose n number of the turns. Now in this case number of the turns will become, so now this is the half, okay, n by 2 times the number of the turns are both side, the HV and HV LV side. So now let us take, so we know this EMF equation, the E know that, so this EMF equation of the transformer E is equal to the 4.44 B maximum AN the F, okay, N1 number of the turns. So now this is it is a constant, the flux density we need to find out. So this equation can be written as the 4.44 the B maximum, the length and the breadth of the transformer core, so multiplied by frequency and the number of the turns. Now this is a constant value, so the applied voltage V is directly proportional to the excitation EMF, and excitation EMF directly proportional to the flux density, the length of the core and the breadth of the core, and here is a frequency is also constant, in both cases frequency is the same, that's why it is treated as a constant, and multiplied by number of the turns. Now therefore V12 divided by V11 that is equal to B maximum 2 divided by B maximum 1 the into the length point of view. So length is equal to, so this one length, so B maximum 2, so LC2 divided by LC1 and BC2 divided by the BC1 and multiplied by, okay, this N2 divided by the N1 value. So now let us substitute all the given values in this equation. What is applied voltage in the case 2? 800 volts, the 800 the divided by, so this one is 800, so divided by 400 the is equal to the flux density 2. So we need to find out this value, flux density 2 the divided by 1.2 Tesla multiplied by, so this LC2 2 times and the 2 LC1 divided by LC1 the into 2 times of the BC1 divided by the BC1, so equal to n by 2 times of okay n1. So now here n1 number of this number of terms will be cancelled and this term is also cancelled out. So now we required, so this is the 2 times, okay, here 2 is a cancel, so therefore this 2 will cancelled out. So B maximum 2 is equal to 1.2 Tesla. By solving this, so we can get the maximum flux density of the core, that is equal to 1.2 Tesla. Option the 2 is correct for this question. And next one, let us solve the question number 4. In an ideal transformer, if K is a some constant, then supply voltage V in terms of the magnetizing current Im can be expressed as option 1 the JKFIm, option 2 JKF divided by Im, and option 3 minus JKFIm, and option 4 minus JKF divided by Im1. So here K is a some constant, okay, constant, it is not a transformation ratio, there is some constant, arbitrary constant, and V is a supply voltage and magnetizing current is Im. So we know this is the equivalent circuit of the transformer, the under no load condition. So this no load equivalent circuit, it is a I0, so it has a 2 components, one is the RC and this one is the magnetizing reactance. So now this one is the XM, magnetizing reactance. So now this current is known as the no load current. So current here, so magnetize the iron loss component of the current and I mu magnetizing current of the current. So from this equivalent circuit, okay, from the above equivalent circuit of the transformer, equivalent circuit of transformer, so this magnetizing current I mu is equal to, so this I mu is equal to applied voltage divided by the XM. So where XM is the inductive reactance, that's why we can write the JXM value. So therefore applied voltage V1 is equal to the J into XM multiplied by I mu. I mu is a magnetizing current of the transformer. So therefore applied voltage V1, the J XM you can write 2 phi FL, so multiplied by I mu. So now this one is V1, applied voltage V1. So there is a some constant term, suppose here 2 the phi L, okay, this one is the 2 pi L, so it is a some constant J into 2 phi L, the F multiplied by magnetizing current. So now V1 is equal to J is a some constant K. So now here F I mu 1. So now this is a where K is nothing but the K is a the some constant. So this some constant value is equal to 2 phi the L, okay, 2 pi L1. So answer for this question J K F multiplied by I mu, or instead of here mu, this you can write, so J K F Im, where Im is a magnetizing current of the transformers. The current required from the source to create the flux is known as the magnetizing current of the transformer. So answer for this question option 1 is correct, okay. And next one, let us solve the question number 5. In a transformer, exciting current is made up of 2 components, the namely magnetizing current Im and core loss component of is IC. So with negligible leakage impedance drop, option 1, so both Im and IC lag supply voltage V1 by 90 degrees and both Im and IC are in phase with V1. And option 3, Im lags V1 by 90 degrees whereas IC in phase with the V1, and Im is in phase with the V1 but IC lags V1 by 90 degrees. So this question can be answered by using the vector diagram of 3-phase of single phase transformer in case of the under no load condition. So now let us draw the vector diagram. Let us assume the main field first one, mutual flux is the taken as a reference. So magnetizing current always in phase with the flux. So these two are in phase with the flux in a truck. So transformer is a pure inductive nature, so that applied voltage oka V1 that leads the magnetizing current by 90 degrees, or magnetizing current in a transformer lags the applied voltage by the 90 degrees. So now this one is the 90 degrees, and next one, this EMF induced in a transformer lags the flux by the 90 degrees. Now EMF induced in the secondary winding of the transformer that also lags the flux by 90 degrees. So where E1 opposes the applied voltage to satisfy Lenz's law. Now iron loss component of the current is represented with a resistive element. So in a resistor, current in phase with the applied voltage. So now this one is the IC. So iron loss component of current or core loss component of the current. So this one is IC and this one is a IM. So now this I mu, okay, this I mu is a lags the applied voltage by 90 degrees. Now this IC is a in phase with, okay, in phase with the applied voltage, okay, V1. So in IC is a in phase with applied voltage V1, and magnetizing current lags the applied voltage V1 by 90 degrees. So see the option number 3, IM lags V1 by 90 degrees, whereas IC in phase with the V1. So option 3 is the correct for this question. Okay, got it? Let us solve the question number 6. The question is, if a transformer primary is energized from the square wave voltage source, then its output voltage will be option 1 0, option 2 a sine wave, option 3 a triangular wave, and option 4 a pulsed wave. So given that transformer is excited with the square wave voltage source, so that means applied voltage V of t is equal to, so this one is the square wave, the wave. So square wave means, suppose here this is the applied voltage, positive pulse, okay, negative pulse, positive pulse, and the negative pulse, okay, this one is the square wave with respect to the time. So V of t is a square wave. And what about the shape of induced EMF? The V of t is required. So EMF, shape of the induced EMF in the primary winding of the transformers. So how do we get the transformer point of view? So let us find out shape of the magnetizing current, the shape of the magnetizing current in the transformer. So now this is the magnetizing current. So it is denoted by I mu of t is equal to the 1 by L, the integration of, okay, this is the transformer, the is pure inductive nature, okay, this is a pure inductive nature. So that in the pure inductor, this current passes the inductor is equal to 1 by L integration of the voltage V of t, okay, dt1. So now shape of induced EMF 1 by L, the integration of the square wave, okay, square wave, so with respect to the time. So now integration of the square wave, so with respect to the time. So this one is a triangular wave, okay, triangular the wave. So we got the shape of the magnetizing current. So now we need to find out shape of the induced EMF. How do we get shape of the induced EMF? Now let us find out the shape of, okay, induced EMF. So this induced EMF is denoted by the V of t. So induced EMF in terms of the inductance, the self inductance minus L, the differentiation of this magnetizing current, so with respect to the time. So now this value is equal to minus L differentiation of the triangular wave, okay, triangular wave with respect to the time. So now the differentiation, integration of the square wave we will get, so triangular wave. So now this will become, so it is the square wave, okay, this is the square wave. So with 180 degree displacement, 180 degree the displacement. Why? Because the here EMF, this one is a phase displacement between these two always is equal to the 180 degrees. The shape is the remain same, the square wave with 180 degree displacement, and it is also called another name of, so this one is the pulsed wave. Now similar type of the question, what are the variations in this question? Sometimes here given that it is excited with a square wave voltage source, the shape of the induced EMF is the square wave only. It is also called pulsed wave. Suppose if it is excited with a square wave current source, the shape of the induced EMF is a pulsed wave. So if it is excited with a triangular wave voltage source, then we will get shape of the induced EMF is triangular wave with 180 degree phase displacement. Now if it is excited with a triangular wave current source, then the shape of the induced EMF is a square wave or pulsed wave. Or if it is excited with the DC supply, then what will happen? We will get zero induced EMF. So if it is excited with a sinusoidal wave, so we will get the sinusoidal induced EMF. So these are the different type of the question based on this concept. So our first one, find out the shape of the magnetizing current, and after that find out the shape of the induced EMF. So your integration, then differentiation, will get the same shape. Suppose if it is a current source, then it will be the different. Got it? And next one, let us solve the question number 7. The primary, the 220 volt side or 220 upon 6 volts 50 Hz transformer is connected to 110 volt 60 Hz source. The secondary output voltage will be option 1 3.6 volts, the 2.5 volts, 3 volts, 1.667 volts. So given in this question, the given that the voltage is equal to 220 upon the 6 volts, the 50 Hz, the 50 Hz. So now this is a initially case 1. Okay, we have a case, and supply is given to this side is a excitation. Supply is a given to the this side, high voltage side of the transformer. So in case 2, the same transformer is excited with the 110 volts, the 60 Hz. Okay, 60 Hz. So in this case, okay, number 2. So let assume in the case 1, okay, let assume here the flux density of the core B maximum 1 is equal to, so some B the Webers per, okay, meter square. The flux density in the case 1 is equal to some value of, so that is the B maximum, the Webers per meter square or Tesla. And in the case 2, so let us verify whether flux density is constant or not. Now first one, let verify, okay, verify the flux density of the core, whether it is a constant or the variable. So now next we required, okay, this one is the secondary output voltage required. If it is a primary output voltage, so it is a very easy to find out, but secondary output voltage, so that's why we need to verify the flux density of the core, whether it is a constant or variable. Now we know during operation of the transformer, so this flux density is directly proportional to the V1 by F ratio. So this where V1 is a applied voltage and F is a frequency of the transformer. So therefore B maximum 2 is equal to B maximum 1, the multiplied by V12 divided by V11, the F1 divided by the F12. The B maximum 1, flux density of the transformer 1, the is into, okay, this one is a we have taken B maximum 1 and V12 applied voltage in case 2, so that is equal to 110. So case 1 is a 220 and frequency value, the F1 is a 50 Hz, the F2 is equal to 60 Hz. So by solving this, B maximum 2 is equal to, so pi by the 12 times of the B maximum 1. So this one is a pi by 2, B maximum 2 is equal to the B maximum 1. This is the B maximum 2 is equal to pi by 12 times of the B maximum 1. Now we require secondary voltage, secondary output voltage. How do we get secondary output voltage? Now this is given. So this one is the secondary output voltage in case 1. Okay, this one is the E21 is equal to the 6 volts secondary output voltage in the case 1. And how to find out the secondary output voltage in the case 2? So we know this, the induced EMF in the secondary winding of the transformer, the E2 is equal to 4.44, the B maximum, the AN, the F, the N2, okay, this FN21. So now here number of the turns, okay, during operation here. So these two are fixed, okay, fixed and treated as, okay, treated as constant, the treated as as constant. So induced EMF E2 is directly proportional to the flux density, product of the flux density and the frequency of the transformers. Now this equation can be written as the E2 in case 2 divided by the E2 in the case 1 is equal to B maximum in the case 2 divided by the B maximum in case 1 multiplied by the frequency in the case 2 divided by the frequency in the case 1. Now let us substitute all the given values in this equation. So here we required output voltage in the case 2. So this is equal to 6 volts. That value is the B maximum 2 is a pi by 12 times of the B maximum 1. So divided by B maximum 1. The F2 is equal to 60 hertz. Okay, divided by, so this value, okay, F2 is equal to the 50. So now this will be cancelled out. Pi is a cancel. So therefore E22 is equal to output voltage in the case 2 is equal to, so 1 by 2 times of the 6 volts. So this value is equal to the 3 volts. So that answer for this question. So here given options are given. So now this one is a option 1 is a 3.6 volts, option 2 is a 3 volts. So option 2 is a correct answer for this question. So for this type of, if the primary side is given, suppose in this question the primary voltage will be is given. So here no need to find out. So we the directly you can find, but primary side is changes in the primary side, but asking about the secondary side. That's why we need to verify the flux density whether it is a constant or not. If the flux density is a constant, then the EMF induced in the transformer directly proportional to the frequency. Otherwise EMF induced in the transformer is directly proportional to the product of flux density and the frequency of the transformer. And next one, let us solve the question number 8. A 400 upon 200 volts transformer has total resistance of 0.02 per unit on LV side. The total resistance when referred to HV side would be option 1 0.02 per unit, option 2 0.04 per unit, and option 3 0.01 per unit, and option 4 the 0.08 per unit. So given transformer rating, so this one is a 400 by 200 volts run. So per unit resistance of the transformer, okay, referred to the HV side, okay, per unit resistance of the transformer, the referred to the HV side is equal to per unit resistance of the transformer, okay, this per unit resistance of transformer referred to the LV side, the is equal to the 0.02 only. So there is per unit resistance of the transformer referred to the primary side equal to per unit resistance of the transformer referred to the secondary side. So per unit resistance, the resistance per unit value, the referred to the primary side, the is equal to resistance in the per unit value, the referred to the secondary side. Similarly, the per unit reactance, okay, referred to the primary side, the equal to per unit reactance referred to the secondary side, and also per unit impedance of the transformer, okay, referred to the primary side, per unit impedance of the transformer referred to primary side of the transformer, the X per unit value, X per unit. So this is the referred to the primary side is equal to, or Z per unit in the referred to the primary side is equal to Z per unit impedance of the transformer referred to the secondary side of the transformer. The resistance in per unit value, reactance in the per unit value, and impedance in the per unit values are equal to the both side of the both side, or this is the both side of the transformer. Per unit resistance in the primary side equal to per unit resistance in the secondary side. Reactance of the per unit value is equal to reactance in per unit value in the secondary side. Impedance in the per unit value is equal to impedance in the secondary side of the transformer. And next one, let us solve the question number 9. The question is, the leakage flux in a transformer depends upon option 1 applied voltage, and option 2 the frequency, and option 3 load current, and option 4 mutual flux. The leakage flux is a load component of the flux. So leakage flux of the transformer, leakage flux of the transformer is load component of the flux. loads the component of the flux which links either in the primary winding or in the secondary winding, but not both the winding. So leakage flux depends on the load current or load variation. So option the 3 is correct for this question. And next one, question number 10. The useful flux of a transformer is 1 Webers when it is loaded at 0.8 power factors. So mutual flux or useful flux of the transformer is 1 Webers. When it is loaded 0.8 power factor lagging. So per lagging power factors, then what will happen here? So then the mutual flux, option 1, may decrease to the 0.8 Webers, may increase to the 1.01 Webers, and remains constant, may decrease to the 0.99 Webers. So here very important question, this one is a sum. Suppose here options are given like this one is the decreases, increases, constant. Same options, option A. Suppose in the question, option A, the increase, okay, next option B, the decrease, and option C, constant, and option D, the may increase, okay, increase or decrease, okay, like this is given. So what is the answer for this question? Constant is correct. And next one, the options are given like the increase, okay, option B, decrease, and option C, little bit, okay, this one is the little bit, okay, the constant. So this one is a constant, little bit increase, okay, little bit decrease. So now what is the answer? So now this answer for this question, little bit the decreases, little bit or somewhat less than or somewhat more than, options are given like that. So what is the answer? Little bit the less than the useful flux in the transformer. So why? So do we have a question? So what is the reason behind this? So per resistive load, okay, suppose if it is mentioned resistive load, the mutual flux of the transformer is extremely constant. The per inductive and capacitive loads, the mutual flux that changes little bit, the per little bit less per the inductive load, and per capacitive load little bit more as compared to the, so this useful flux in the transformer. What is the reason behind this? So per lagging power factor loads, okay, this lagging the power factor, so this is a load component of, okay, this one is per lagging power factor load. So pi 2 is, okay, this one is the pi 2 is little bit, this pi 2 is a less as compared to pi 1 dash, okay, pi 1 dash. So now this one is the secondary flux, the is a more less as compared to the pi 1 dash. So that means this one is, for example, so it is a 1 not, okay, this is the 100% of the flux, and this one is a 101% of the flux. So now this is the 1% and 101% of this part. So now pi 2 is a more per lagging power factors. So what will happen? So this secondary flux pi 2 is less as compared to the pi 1 dash. So 100% of, okay, pi 2, so this 100% of pi 2 opposes, okay, 100% of, okay, this 100% of the pi 1, okay, pi 1, the mutual flux here, the pi 1 dash, okay, to satisfy the Lenz's law. So these two fluxes are equal and opposite. So remaining 1% of, okay, this remaining 1% of, okay, this 1% of the pi 1 dash, very important one. So here the exact per lagging power factor, secondary flux is a little bit less as compared to the load component of the primary flux. The example point, if I take pi 2 is 100% and this one is a 101%. Suppose this, what is the nature of these two fluxes? Pi 2 opposes the pi 1 to satisfy Lenz's law, and these two fluxes are equal and opposite and cancelled each other. So now this one remaining 1% of pi 1 dash, so is in phase with, okay, in phase with the existing, okay, existing mutual flux, the are useful flux. So now in phase with the mutual flux are the useful flux of the machine. So useful flux means what will happen? the net flux will become, so 1% of the pi 1 dash plus the mutual flux 1. So that why, so mutual flux will be increases a little bit. So answer for this question. So if it is options are given, the increase, decrease, constant and may increase, and definitely the transformer flux is constant. Okay, irrespective of the load. Suppose like this increases, constant, little bit, okay, little bit decrease, okay, little bit decreases and little bit increases is given. So now what is the answer button? The little bit more as compared to the usual flux, or little bit somewhat more as compared to the usual flux in the or mutual flux in the transformer. So answer for this question, option 2 is a correct. So very important question and repeated question in the competitive exam based on this flux. Suppose per resistive load, what I have concluded here, per resistive load, okay, per R load, okay, definitely flux is constant. Okay, suppose per inductive loads, okay, this RL type of the load, the little bit the flux increases little bit, and per the capacitive load, okay, this flux is a decreases the little bit as compared to the useful flux in the transformer or mutual flux in the transformer. So if it is a resistive load, for any type of, as the load increases, that there is no change in this one, the flux is the constant. So it is very small, so that's why we can treat it that transformer is a constant flux device. But practically what will happen? So per R load flux is constant. Per RL load what will happen? The mutual flux is little bit increases. The per RC load or capacitive load, mutual flux is little bit the decreases. Okay. So this was a discussion of gunshot bits in the transformer Genco AE exams. Okay. And I will tell you one more point. So in Sai Medha Koti, Hyderabad, we are providing offline and online coaching. So already batch, okay, offline coaching ku batch start ayindi. So batch strength till now the 50 members are there. So 50 members in the batch. So fees is the 36,000 rupees, but we are giving 50% discount on this fee. So 50% on batch already start ayindi. 50% తర్వాత 50% అనేది తీసేస్తాం. ఒకవేళ తీసేస్తే మీకు 36,000 పే చేసుకోవాల్సి వస్తుంది. యాజ్ ఓన్లీ 3 to 4 days ఆఫర్ మాత్రమే ఉంటుంది. సో బ్యాచ్ స్ట్రెంత్ నౌ కూడా 50 మెంబర్స్ తో బ్యాచ్ స్టార్ట్ అయింది. ఇంకొక బ్యాచ్ కూడా స్టార్ట్ అవుతుంది. సో మీరు ఆఫ్లైన్ తీసుకోవాలంటే ఇది పి, ఒకవేళ మీరు ఆన్లైన్ కోచింగ్కి వెళ్ళాలనుకోండి, అన్నీ కూడా ఆల్ సబ్జెక్ట్స్. సో వీడియో లెక్చర్స్. సో ఇన్ అడిషన్ టు దిస్ వీడియో లెక్చర్స్ వీఆర్ గివింగ్ so PYQ of the Genco, Transco and Discoms, and also PYQ of the ESC, and the this is the PYQ of the UPSC. So this UP and PYQ of other state PSCs and all the standard book textbooks objective question. For example, the PS Bimra objective questions, the electrical machines by PS Bimra objective questions also video solutions ఇస్తున్నాం. సో మీకు దీని పే ఎంత అంటే ఓన్లీ 5,900 రూపీస్. సో మీకు అన్ని సబ్జెక్ట్స్ యొక్క వీడియో లెక్చర్స్ అండ్ ప్రీవియస్ క్వశ్చన్స్ అండ్ ఆల్సో ఇన్ అడిషన్ టు దిస్ PYQ ఆఫ్ గేట్. సో ఇలా ఆఫ్లైన్ అండ్ ఆన్లైన్ బ్యాచ్ ఉన్నది. ఆఫ్లైన్ ఫీ ఎంత అంటే సో 36,000 రూపీస్, కానీ 50% ఆఫర్ ఉంది. ఆ 50% ఆఫర్ వల్ల మీకు వచ్చే పే చేయాల్సింది ఎంత ఓన్లీ 18,000 రూపీస్. అదే ఆన్లైన్ అయితే దాన్ని ఆన్లైన్ కంటెంట్ మీరు ఒకవేళ ఆఫ్లైన్ జాయిన్ అయితే మీకు ఆన్లైన్ కంటెంట్ కూడా ఫ్రీగా ఇస్తాం. ఒక ఆన్లైన్ ఓన్లీ ఆన్లైన్ తీసుకోవాలనుకుంటే దాని ఫీ ఎంత 5,900 రూపీస్. ఓన్లీ 2-3 days ఆఫర్ ఉంటుంది. తర్వాత ఇది 7-9 అయ్యే ఛాన్సెస్ ఉంది. సో ఇఫ్ యూ వాంట్ టు జాయిన్ ద డూ ఇట్ యాజ్ ఎర్లీ యాజ్ పాసిబుల్. ఐ హోప్ యూ గాట్ ఇట్. థ్యాంక్ యూ వెరీ మచ్.